The Unification Wars. From out of this seemingly endless cycle of violence and doom, a leader emerged. A warlord more powerful than any before him. He was the Emperor, and his power lay in his rationality and foresight. And his mastery of science was unequaled, as his might as a warrior. Although few suspected the true range of his powers and abilities, the Emperor conquered great swaths of old Earth, and those that would not join him, he destroyed. But his was a conquest not merely born of blood and ambition, but a higher calling. Where his dominion reigned, the idols of fear and blind faith were cast down, and order and rationality were raised up in their place. Under his rulership, humanity would be restored, intellectually, spiritually, and physically, to the heights it had once knew, and the shackles of darkness cast aside. It was not enough merely to secure military victory, however. The betterment and restoration of humanity required more. So it was that even before victory on ancient Terra had been achieved, the Emperor and those learned souls he had gathered to him started to experiment with genetics. This was done first and foremost to stabilize the population and to recreate the race of mankind as it was before the radiation storms and generations of viral and alchemical weapons had racked the planet. Secondly, the creation of genetically augmented superhuman fighters that had begun with the Thunder Warriors continued apace into newer, more powerful creations, ultimately leading to what later became known as the Space Marine Legions. These were the days of the Unification Wars, in which the remaining tyrants of ancient Earth, Kalgan of Osh, Narthan Doom, and others just as bloody-handed, were at last cast down. The Emperor commanded superior armies of genetically enhanced warriors, such as his Thunder Legions, the nascent Legiones Astartes, and the Legio Custodes, the Emperor's guardians who were few in number, but peerless in might. The war continued without relent until finally all of old Earth's techno-barbarian factions and fractured city-states pledged the Emperor fealty, and at last Terra was unified for the first time in many millennia. Alongside this ascendancy would come a rebirth of civilization and government, with the Emperor founding an all-embracing civil administratum to reorder and rebuild his world, and concentrate such learning and knowledge that could be salvaged from the dust of ages in houses of learning and education. The unification of Terra will only be the start. Hey friends, it's me. I'm very thirsty at Otaku, the well-rounded nerd. Just got an advertisement that my phone company wants to give me a credit card. No. We are back in the lore of the Horus Heresy. Why? Because I'm finally getting everything printed for my gifting stuff, such as my contest winner, who you never have reached out to me. IG is a good place to reach the Ebony Otaku. Discord is a good place to reach me. Please reach out because I am literally making your prize. I have the Dice Tower printed. I'm about to start printing the OPR minis. Yeah, I'm doing all that painting this weekend of Thanksgiving. If you don't claim it, I will end up having to give it to another. So let me know, reach out. I'll repost the contest winner one more time just to give you a fair shake, because I don't want to give your prize to someone else. I'm trying to have it ready to ship out before the holidays. I do love this time of year. Once I'm done with that, the following week I'm going to get back to painting my own army, because y'all, Adepticon is upon us. I know the year has come by so fast, but she has many pieces of her army that she needs to get painted and battle ready so that she can practice with them. In January, my husband and I are going to take the week of Christmas and just work on painting, finishing our armies, finishing our doubles army, getting that set up, and start practicing. from January until March. So why not get back into the law? Life has gotten in the way of me doing things at the pace I usually do. That she has started her master's degree. Why? Because she needed to. So I've always got a lot going on. But getting into the Unification Wars, I think it's such an appropriate topic right now. I love fiction, especially Warhammer right now, because it provides just such a safe way to talk about real topics without having to talk about real topics. That is the beauty of good fiction. You don't have to get into a fight with your family over the turkey and the ham or the tofu, whatever you eat, about actual politics. Fight about Warhammer. We do it every Work in Progress Wednesday at the hobby store. We sit and argue about our favorite Primarchs and Legions and who was right. I stand for Fulgrim. I stand for Goldar. I stand for Vulcan, and I stand for Rabute. I was about to say Kodoraba. I like Kodoraba, but he's not in my favorites list. But yeah, you have that argument. I argue your points through fiction. So this is really interesting. So if we think 30, 40,000 years in the future, which this is heresy, so 30,000 years in the future, when this is all taking place, the Emperor being our longest lived being in the history of future history, yeah, that's a sentence, he's out there doing something right now. He's just walking around being pre-Emperor. So having been around since the dawn of man into 40,000 years in the future, it kind of makes you wonder, when he says restore the humans to what they were before the genetic storms, you talk about 40,000 years of humans. Which version of human are you talking about? There's a lot of versions of human. And that's what I love about the Unification Wars, because there are a couple of viewpoints. I've talked to people that when they discuss the Emperor, like, the Emperor could do no wrong. He was just getting humans back together. And then there are others who are like, he's the cause of all the problems. I think it's both. I think it's both. I think you can have leaders that perhaps their goals have a hint of altruism to them, but they can't get to those goals without treachery. There's just no way. And who is he to say what version of human is appropriate? I'm going to just leave that on the table right there. But when having been around that long, I mean, like think about that. Like, let's pretend this book is all the human history he's experienced. And somewhere about there is going to be, the age of strife. Somewhere there is going to be the dark age of technology. So so somewhere in here. So before we get to the end, so so this is going forward. This is going backwards. What version of human in here, considering that dark age of technology and strife is this much, all the way back? What version of human is he talking about? That's why you gotta be so careful about who you follow and put stock in. Because you don't know if they have decided you're a version of human worth saving. So from the Emperor's point of view, and those many people who gathered to him, looking back at what's happened to humans up until this point, if you don't know what's happened, I got other videos where I've read more at the beginning of the new Horus Heresy rule book. So there's just a lot of lore in these books. I love it. I'm never excited to get a new book. But according to the Emperor and his cohorts, humans, post-radiation and the rest of it, have mutated and become something different. To say something like that is to say that what you've become, and a lot of them, remember, you got a lot of civilians, it's not just the people in the military without doing stuff, and, the warlords and stuff, there's a lot of civilians. Like in the future, humans will be populating the populace. Like, humans everywhere. So, to say that there's a version of human that he prefers, is all that tells me already how dangerous he is. Granted, he has experienced humans now. but he also experienced humans 5,000 years ago. And in between then and all the way to where he is, what if even his closest among him are not the version of human that he wants to keep? Now, you have to set aside Mars in this whole equation, which we'll get to Mars in a future video. Because Mars is allowed to run off and do whatever Mars wants to do and be as whatever they want to be. They don't care how genetically modified whatever Mars is, because Mars makes their bullets. All right, they're the bullet farm. All right, they're gas town and the bullet farm in one spot. So we let them worship their machine god. And Mars is not in the business of inventing things. Mars and their tech priests are in the business of uncovering what exists and deciding if it needs to be out there in general knowledge. And if it doesn't, they get rid of it or they hide it. They won't let us have it. So they don't tell the greater population of humans, like, oh, look what we discovered. Like, no, we're going to test this and see if it's worth y'all knowing. And if not, it's got to go. But they do that with technology. They don't do that with living beings. And that's where I have a problem with the Emperor. Because you got to look at him from both sides. Okay, the humans have been through so much. The ages have strived. Terra is a mess. There's famine. There's war. There's blood. But when in human history has that not been a thing? When has there not been war since there have been people? Never. There's never been a time since the creation of us that there hasn't been war. So he's going to stop the wars. And beware the leader that promises peace at the edge of a sword. That is what the Emperor has done. Oh, well, I'm going to be the Emperor now. Hey, friends. I'm sure he didn't call them friends. Hey, subjects, potential subjects. So, I've been around for a long time. I have watched humanity reach its heights, which isn't now, reach its heights of who they could be. And so much has afflicted you, my children. Except you mutated, which you're not my children. So much has afflicted you, my children. Come into the Emperor's bosom. I will protect you. I will shelter you, I will feed you, I will clothe you. Just swear eternal fealty to me. And I will provide to you all that you need. Give me your children to be genetic mutants in my army. But you can't be mutated in organ restore you to everything that you are. Oh, these tall gentlemen in the gold that are almost as big as me. Oh, those are my custodians. My custodians. They're janitors. Of blood. Don't worry about them. I mean, don't bother me and they won't bother you. Oh, those are my thunder warriors. They're here to keep you safe. From who? From chaos. What's chaos? Oh, I didn't say chaos. From Xenos. They're here to keep you safe from the Xenos. The aliens, things that are not us. Oh, how many humans have left Earth? That's many. Oh, well, we will go and find our brothers amongst the stars and welcome them back into our fold, if they still look human enough. Oh, all the warlords that are still out there. I will have to go and have conversation with them. Surely they'll believe that I am here to bring peace. But I'm going to take my astartes and custodians with me. As a gesture of peace, of course. But you do not want to die at the hands of these brutal warlords who have ravaged the planet. Oh, well, was I for the past 13 millennia? I was gathering information. I was learning. So that I could come to humanity at the right time as your savior. As your Emperor. Come into my imperial bosom. I will protect you. What do you mean you can resist what I said? I didn't say. What, did you not hear me? Did you not see the golden guys that hear the thunder the thunder, the lightning and the thunder, and my brand new pals, the Astartes. You, oh wait till you meet my sons. All 20 of them, well 18. oh, you got it. Oh, well, maybe your version of human that we don't need anymore. That's my version of how it went. Be careful. I love this universe. You can learn so much from good fiction. Lord of the Rings is another good one to learn from. And Dune. Dune's a hard read for most people, but so good. He is just licking his toes back there. Sammy, are they tasty toes? I leave you alone. He's like, why did you bother me? He's like, leave me and my toe fungus alone. We're having a good time. There he is. What we learned through the Unification Wars, and I'm about to read Dawn of the Imperium, is that we need to be careful who we trust, and to never, ever put our full trust in any human. I don't care if they've been alive for 50,000 years. There is no human who is perfect. There is none of us who 100% has the well-being of everyone on their mind. I do my best to care about other people. I've had a life. We all have a story. You have a story, and it's valid. But I believe that my story doesn't give me the right to impose what I think and believe on others. I do invite dialogue and conversation, but I have learned over time that when people try to assume absolute power and then try to offer peace at the tip of a knife, they're not to be trusted. While the Emperor did, and let's be real here, the Emperor does save humans, he does. But he also gets to decide which version of human is most appropriate. Eventually he's going to go out into the stars and start scavenging the skies for the remnants of humanity that have gone all across the galaxy. Which of these will he choose are worthy of saving? And which must be cast into the void? Will he offer them protection? What if they don't bend the knee? We know what happens if you've read more 30 or 40K. You know exactly what happens. One of the reasons Lorgar was looked down upon by the Emperor and his brothers is Lorgar did his best not to fire a shot at a fellow human. He was able to bring worlds to bear through dialogue. And the Emperor didn't like that. Because if there could be a potential enemy, they had to go. We don't reason with people who don't disagree with me outright. Look, you and your magic stole. I need you to stop. Or I'm going to destroy everything you love. We see so much in our world right now. And I think it's always been here, but with the advent of social media, things always in our eyeballs at all times, it's overwhelming. But we do need to remember that not all that glitters is gold. That oftentimes when people seek power, it's not for the sake of saving anyone, it's for the sake of power. And we're seeing a lot of that go on in the world right now. They're not out for us, any of us. They're out to protect what they perceive as their little kingdom. And that happens at the macro level, it happens at the micro level. Have you ever been a part of an organization or a group where the person who's running it just seems to go a little bit maniacal with their little bit of power? That's not really power. You got a bunch of people that are all trying to work towards a cause, and somebody just goes, woo, way to left field. Because I ran this. People do it over the PTA. People do it in religious organizations. They do it over the kids' sports group. People do it in police departments. All the way up, to running governments. I can't imagine living through having to make a choice between, will I kowtow to you or potentially lose everything because I simply don't agree. Some people have been through that. But one thing I like to highlight here is there were those who resisted the emperor. Is the emperor good or evil? You know the grid where you can, like, right in the center is a true neutral. If you play D&D, and especially if you do any electronic D&D games, you gotta choose what you are. Are you dead neutral in the middle? Are you like a good, evil, neutral good, chaotic evil, neutral evil? Like, what are you? Like, where does the emperor fit on that spectrum? Is he true? He's definitely not neutral. I wouldn't call him good. I also wouldn't call him evil. I think he did want to save humanity. I also think he wanted all the power. I think he did want to protect humanity from chaos, but I also think he kept so many secrets that people couldn't make good decisions. Nothing will cause more chaos than secrets. And that is the downfall of the emperor. People who crave power, position, more than anything, have a lot of secrets. And those secrets are their undoing. Let me tell you, as one who has experienced a few things, if you find out some of their secrets, you became a target. You got to go one way or another. I wonder, especially reading so many of these novels, you gotta read the novels. I'm trying not to spoil a lot of what's in the books. You gotta get into the Black Library, it's so great. But there are some things that some of these warlords knew about the emperor, but the general population did not. There are things that some of the legionaries know about their primarchs, but the rest of the legion does not know. How many things do people know about heads of state, rulers, presidents, pontiffs, potentates, that others don't, that only those closest to them know? And what do people do when they get scared? That they might lose their power. They start getting rid of anyone who stands in their way. They raise a new army. Whatever happened to the Thunder Warriors? The Thunder Warriors were there before the Legionaries of Astartes. One day they were there, and then they weren't. Have you ever been a part of something and been very dedicated to it? And maybe you rose up through the ranks, but then there's a change in how leaders want to operate. And you've seen everything, you've done everything, but you're just minding your business. One day you go from being a trusted advisor to a threat. You got to go. Happens in companies all the time. Happens in governments all the time. We've got to learn. Real history gets a little hard sometimes. We're humans. We done did some things. Get into the fiction. The dawn of the Imperium. Understanding that no one mortal, even one such as he, could rule alone, the Emperor formed his war council, comprised of his most able generals and a number of high-ranking administrators, the most formidable of which was Malchador, known as the Sigillite. Malchador was not a warrior, but a man of learning, with the bearing of a priest. His origins, unknown, to save all perhaps the emperor, to whom some said he was kin. Malchador was appointed to run the emperor's palace and imperial court, and through this managed the administration of the newly conquered Terra as his master's left hand. Where Terra had been a place of unending war, it now became a place of unceasing activity, production, and planning. Just as the conquest of Old Earth was complete, a mighty and unforeseen cosmic event, a massive shockwave blasted across the Imperium, clearing the warp storms that had plunged the galaxy into tumult and rage for millennia. It seemed to some divine providence fueling the beliefs of those that considered the Emperor to be himself divine, no matter how much he decried this claim. The way to the galaxy was now open, and the Emperor's armies would now be able to take to the stars. With the other planets of Terra's solar system, the first step upon the road. The Great Crusade had begun. Get into it, friends. There's so much to learn in the world of Warhammer. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you